Hi, good day. My name is Kyle, and today we will be covering the subject of nouns in parts of speech. So what are nouns? First, let me introduce you to the definition of nouns. Nouns are basically words that are used to describe objects, things, or people. For example, buildings, cars, the names of peoples, they are all classified as nouns. Nouns are also used to describe abstract or concrete items. For example, the abstract concept of love, feelings, emotions, or concrete things like chairs and tables. Nouns also form the primary subject of any given sentence in the English language. So after providing you with a definition of what nouns are, let's move on to the different types of nouns that we're going to cover today. Now, there are 4 types of nouns that we will cover today. The first type is known as the common noun. The second, the proper noun. The third, the countable and uncountable noun. And finally, the collective noun. So first, the common noun. What is a common noun? A common noun is basically things that do not refer to a specific or particular item, thing, object, or person. For example, a chair, a table, a hospital, or a university. The second item is known as the proper noun. What is a proper noun? The proper noun is the exact opposite of the common noun, which we referred to in the previous item. The proper noun, instead of referring to a non-specific item, refers to a very specific item. Now, one thing that you will notice when referring to a proper noun is that most proper nouns are capitalized in the first letter of its word. For example, names. My name, Kyle, when written on a piece of paper, is spelled K-Y-L-E with a capital K. Therefore, it is a proper noun because it refers to me specifically. Or, when referring to a university as a common noun, you can also refer to a university as a proper noun, such as University Tunku Abdul Rahman. Other types of proper nouns also involve dates, holidays, specific locations, such as the name of countries, states, or continents, and also product names, such as the difference between a common noun, milk, or a proper noun, fern leaf milk. The two are different because one refers to a specific item, while the other is a general product. The example of proper nouns can also cover such as this sentence. Mr. Hexler enjoys camping at Yellowstone National Park. Now, Yellowstone National Park is a proper noun. If you refer to a national park, that would be a common noun. Countable nouns. What are countable nouns? In the word class of nouns, you can split them into 2 much more specific types, which is countable and uncountable nouns. Basically, objects that can be counted or cannot be physically counted. In terms of countable nouns, objects such as chairs, persons, people, schools, those are all countable nouns, where you can physically count the number and the amount of a certain object. Now, when referring to countable nouns, use the following. For singular countable nouns, use a or an. There is an egg or there is a orange. Number 2, for plural countable nouns, use some. There are some apples, or I have some eggs. Now, other words used to refer to countable nouns are such as many, an, and etc. Moving on, uncountable nouns are basically the opposite of countable nouns. Objects, things that you cannot count, such as salt, sugar, hair, water, are all uncountable nouns. Now, examples of uncountable nouns. When you refer to uncountable nouns in a sentence, you use the words some as well. He has some oranges. I have some bread. Items that cannot be counted, but you use the word some. What about the term how much or how many? Now, how much is used for uncountable nouns, and whereas how many is used for countable nouns. For example, how many of your friends are coming, or how much sugar or salt do you need? So remember, how many is used for countable and how much is used for uncountable noun. What about a few versus a little? I'm sure you have heard of these words before. Now, such as similarly with their cousin many versus much, a few is used to refer to countable nouns. For example, I have only a few dollars. You can physically count dollars because it is money, it is a numerical amount, and therefore you use the countable word few. Now, a little is used for uncountable nouns. For example, I'll have a little coffee. Now, you cannot physically count liquid, and therefore it is an uncountable noun, so you use a little. So we've covered three parts already: common nouns, proper nouns, and also the countable and uncountable nouns. We'll move on to the last item in the parts of speech of nouns. This one is basically known as the collective noun. Now, what are collective nouns? Collective nouns are basically nouns that refer to a group or an entity with smaller parts. Now, they can be made up of a lot of people or a lot of things, but the noun uses it to refer to it as a single entity. So, an example of a collective noun. The class thoroughly studied the topic before presenting it to the assembly. Now, the word class and assembly are both collective nouns, because when you refer to the word class, you do not just refer to the room, but you refer to the students who are in that class itself. And the word assembly is also a collective noun because you do not refer to the assembly of people, but you refer to it as the people who are in the assembly, therefore making it a collective noun of many people or entities within a single noun. Now, a word of caution when using collective nouns. When using collective nouns in a sentence, you have to make sure and ensure that the noun is in its collective form. For example, the word school can both refer to the singular entity of the school building or the entity of the entirety of a school, which comprises of the students, the teachers, and even the structure itself. So therefore, when you use collective nouns in a sentence, make sure you use it in its collective form. So once again, let me just refresh your memory in the parts of speech known as nouns. Now, nouns, once again, is used to refer to objects, people, things, buildings, dates, and other things that can be concrete or abstract. Abstract items such as emotions, love, hate, anger, things that you cannot see but are still an abstract object. And finally, it is important for you to understand that nouns also comprise of the main primary subject and an object of any English language. And today we have covered 4 different types of nouns. Firstly, the common noun. Secondly, the proper noun. Thirdly, the countable and uncountable noun. And finally, the collective noun. Thank you very much. This is the end of my lesson.